Nope.
Hello, dear listener. Thank you for joining me in this week's video. This story was sent to me by an author from a previous video. If you listened to the story titled Raw Hide and Bloody Bones, then you'll remember the author, Lil Mama 85, otherwise known as Christina Mounts. Just like last time, all the related links can be found in the description below if you wish to learn more about this writer. Another quick heads up about the story, this one is in the perspective of a female. Not sure the age, but old enough to drive and own a firearm. Spoiler alert! Have I piqued your interest? I sure hope so. If I did, remember to smack that like button, or if you'd rather wait till the end, that's cool too. Without any further ado, let's begin. My boyfriend, now husband, and I decided to go on a road trip to my dad's hunting cabin in Northwest Virginia, just a few counties over from Point Pleasant. We packed all our gear into our truck the night before so we can get an early start the next morning. We rise and shine extra early because we couldn't contain our excitement. Our trip to the cabin goes fine. We reach the town that the cabin is near and load up on groceries. About an hour later, we are turning down the dirt road toward the cabin. The cabin itself is about 50 miles back in the boondocks, away from any kind of civilization, so it's a very isolated and creepy place at times. We drive down the dirt road for what seems like forever. Then we finally see the cabin. Both of us are tired from the trip and are planning on relaxing by the fireplace and watching some movies. We get everything inside and I start dinner while my boyfriend, let's call him Neil, plans on gathering some firewood out back. A little after 7, the sun was beginning to set, and we make sure all the doors and windows are locked. It's a small one-bedroom cabin, so there are maybe 5 windows and 2 doors. This will be important later. After we clean up, we decide to watch Catch Me If You Can on DVD, so nothing scary. I reach for a cigarette, only to find my pack empty. I ask Neil where the carton we just bought was. He tells me it's in the truck, and asks if I want him to go get it for me. I tell him no, and that I'll slip on my shoes and make a run for it. Now, I have always been scared of the dark, and have hated going outside in the dark for as long as I remember. I turn back to Neil and ask him if he will stand at the door while I go to the truck. He says yes and makes his way over. I ease outside and down the steps to the truck. I was reaching in to grab the carton of cigarettes when I hear this sound. At first it sounded like a woman screaming, and then it changed to howling. Then it was almost like those two sounds came together to form one very disturbing sound. Honestly, it's hard to explain. It sounded like a demon and a werewolf in one. I make a beeline for the cabin, and I see Neil's face fully drained of color. I push him inside and ask him what the hell that was. It took him a second to answer me, and he says he doesn't know. I've been in the woods, hunting and fishing with my dad and brothers all my life, and I have never heard any animal sound like that before. Just then, we hear it again, only it's near the living room window. Neil makes a mad dash to the bedroom to get his pistol, and I grab my dad's hunting rifle from the closet. I had never been so scared in all my life. I may be a 5'4" female, but I was going to unleash hell on this thing if it tried to step 1 foot inside. What if this thing does try to come in? I thought to myself. That's when we hear it again, this time at the front door. I take aim at the door, my tiny hands shaking. I kept thinking, oh my God, please help us. Then it screamed again, only it wasn't at the door anymore. It was at the kitchen window. Neil and I stood back to back with our guns at the ready. Then we heard a crunching sound, like metal being destroyed. By then, we were too scared to even move. Finally, after an hour of standing like that, and not hearing anything else, we ease over to the kitchen window to look and see if anything can be spotted. Neil, being taller than me, looked first. Oh my God! It ripped a hole in my truck, he screamed. I looked out of the window to see a huge hole ripped in the door. We then double-checked every window and door to make sure they were locked. We ended up staying awake all night, just listening, horrified that thing might come back. Morning eventually came, and we decided to inspect the truck a little closer. Neil went out first with his pistol, and I with my hunting rifle. We get to the truck, and there were claw marks from the taillight to the passenger door. Then a huge hole, like this thing had punched it. We go back inside and call the forest ranger. He comes about 3 hours later and looks at our truck. With a grim look of concern on his face, he tells us that in the past 6 months, 12 people had gone missing from the area. On top of that, the farms that are close reported the same sounds that we heard during the night. The farms would find their animals either gone or gutted in the morning. He told us it would be wise for us to clear out until they can find the animal responsible for this. He told us he didn't want to be up there for a long period of time, but he would wait for us to pack our things and follow us to the main road. We didn't need to be told twice. We tossed our stuff into the truck and practically flew down the dirt road. When we made it back, we thanked him and went on our way. To my knowledge, they never found any animal, person, or thing responsible for all the carnage. We didn't see whatever it was, and I'm glad we didn't. What I do know is that no animal was making that sound. No animal could have done that kind of damage to a truck, not even a bear. Needless to say, we have never been back to that cabin. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this week's story. If you did, you know what to do. Destroy that like button. Special shout out to Lil Mama 85 for the story submission. By the way, she told me that this story was based on a true event. Believe what you will, but I'm definitely going to be weary about going to a cabin in the woods anytime soon. She also told me that there is a part 2 to this story, not based on true events, that's out there, and I will read that at some point, so stay tuned. Other than that, I hope you guys join me next week for a very special